Am I centered? No, I'm not centered. Hello.
Yeah.
Let me get centered.
Am I
This is
sent?
gonna mess with me.
Oh.
Is this gonna mess with me? Testing, testing. All right, we're good. Hello and welcome to another episode of Grown Ups. This is
Is that the name?
It's not the name. It's
Okay.
just what we're being today. We're being grown ups today.
We generally have to be grown-ups every day because we're
This is
parents,
true.
so we
This
don't
is
have a
very true.
choice anymore
My name is
in this
Whitney
season.
Clark, and I am joined with my wonderful, beautiful life partner, but co-host and wife.
Tyranny Clark.
Thank you so much, and so excited to have you today. Today is a very exciting day in the world of our family because it's Friday,
It is.
and Friday represents the end of the week for you, but the beginning of the week for me. So let's
Very
talk a
true.
little bit about how your week was. How was your week?
This week was it was beautiful. This week was the first week in a while that I actually feel at the end of it I can say that I didn't have as much dread as I did when I
Mm,
began it because I feel like this week I made some choices that helped me to kind of prioritize myself and like what's important. I put some boundaries in place and I feel really good about that.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
What about you?
This week was great. This week was great. I had some great ups and downs, but most importantly, I can really just kind of see the kids growing, and so that's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, they are.
always good to see and feel the milestones and
Mm.
stuff like that. And so,
Mhm.
and then the campaign is just an awesome experience because it's a daily test of your mental fortitude and your
Yeah.
confidence in yourself in
Mhm.
the process.
Mhm.
And so I just got these last couple of days were days where I got some good reaffirming.
Mm.
I was brought into rooms with smiling faces and things of that nature. Things that really just kind of feed your spirit and encourage you and keep you motivated, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that was good for me, and so yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of go into the weekend and touch as many doors as possible,
Mhm.
and as well as kind of go to any events that we see here on the calendar. But yeah, okay. So have you been keeping up with this Diddy trial?
Through you. Primarily, I've seen a couple articles here and there, but I just every headline is always filled with foolery. So I generally I generally just get my updates from you.
Yeah,
So I'm just waiting for the verdict.
yeah. I know. I'm waiting on the verdict too.
Mhm.
If I can say anything about it, I just feel like we. I just think that it's a tough situation to look at all around, and we know what we know, and what we know is wrong, and what we're figuring out is just more so weird than anything. I'm just fast. I just want to see how what we have discovered or what we've been reminded of connects to the crime that he's being accused of.
Mm.
And so we know that we know he has some type of sexual demon on him. That's obvious. You know what I'm
A lot of
saying? Like,
different demons.
right? And we know that he has been a domestic abuser before, which obviously no one's going to support. No one's going to you know kind of try to justify. Right? Those are documented, well documented things. I don't
Mhm.
see the RICO. That's what I'm. That's my opinion. And
Yeah.
as you say, I've been following it pretty closely. I don't see that, and so it's just you know thinking about the whole experience for her, Miss Cassie having to relive this and in a way kind of her intimate.
Especially while pregnant.
Listen, and she's already
It's
benefited
traumatic.
whatever she has to gain. Like she's already been paid for it. She's already got her new life and her family and the peace and quiet. And so it just
You don't think that you don't think that there could be another level of vindication that's given to her if, he is served, I guess, justice in the way that she would describe justice as?
well, what I'm saying is it's starting to look as though that's not going to happen.
Mm.
And so
Because more harm is being done than good.
if you've got to go through this experience out in the open for him to be acquitted, then it was all for nothing. Is what it's beginning to look like.
For
You see
sure.
what I'm saying? And so,
Yeah, that's
and I
definitely
think
a
I guess
risk.
it's definitely worth the try. You know, what were you saying? What were you about to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess I can see, yeah, that's definitely up to a risk, right? That he walks away and is not guilty. I feel like I at least would hope that whenever she, decided to pursue this in the first place and like make it a public thing, that she knew and accepted that with that, this would all come with it. Like the public scrutiny, like her being put on the stand and all of that. I imagine that she thought through that. I would hope so. Probably not on this level.
Yeah.
Do you think? No.
The theory that I'm developing as we hear more and more about this case and the embarrassment that she has had to go through in order to carry this out, and to see that at least at this point in the eyes of the public, it may not be a guilty verdict. It appears as though she's being trafficked in the same way that they say Diddy trafficked her. But now they're doing it so they can get Diddy. Hear me out. Diddy saw her as vulnerable, used her in different situations, scenarios, and basically took advantage of her vulnerability, right? And like her naivety, whatever you want to call it. Now the federal government is coming in and trying to, chase down Diddy, and they're using this woman that now we see under any other circumstances would have also been indicted along with Diddy, And so it I guess it all weighs on the verdict. I guess that's what it all comes down to for me, and it sounds like for you too. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have several thoughts about this whole entire trial, right, that I'm not going to get into. However, I think that a bigger question too is like, okay, yes, you're saying it comes down to the verdict, but then like think about our justice system in this country. It doesn't always, like the verdicts aren't always fair in everyone's eyes. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's just an interesting case altogether, right? I mean, who wins and who loses in the end is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that it's Cassie's genuine desire to see this come to fruition, because it's obvious that she's got to endure some type of public ridicule
For sure.
that she didn't have to this
Oh,
time
yeah.
last year,
Definitely.
And so if there is any like vindication for anybody, let this, if nothing else, be what she wanted, because she's got to relive it, and she's got intimate details coming out that otherwise would have never been made public. So I think that's a fascinating conundrum. Okay, let's shift here if you want to.
Oh, I would love to actually.
Okay. Let's shift to something that I've been very, very curious.
Oh Lord,
No,
this smirk on your face tells me this is going to be good.
no, I'm joking. So, we're both pretty committed to like our religious community.
Yes, I love when you use that term.
Yes. We're both we're both
church.
Yes, we're both involved in the church.
Yes.
What are the, and this is a hard pivot, but I'm just curious to know what your diagnosis of our churches are today from a young person's perspective, and what you feel like you're doing to push the church forward from your perspective.
So the question is, where do I feel like the church stands, and what am I doing to push it forward?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. That's beautiful. So, yeah, growing up in church as a PK, I guess you could say. Granddaddy's a pastor, right? Growing up being in church all the time, and looking at where we stand right now with the state of churches, it is pretty unbelievable to see how much things have changed. I think obviously all churches took a pretty big hit around the time COVID happened with like a drop in attendance. But I think if you really look at the demographics of churches within the last decade, I would say it's very interesting how, in particular, it's the younger demographic that is absent, that's like kind of fallen to the wayside. And I think for several reasons, right? A lot of us have decided that we will no longer subscribe to environments where, we can't ask questions, right? Like where our inquiries can't be justified, right? Like where there's no, and also where we feel like we're judged and ridiculed as opposed to loved,
Yeah.
Because if God is love, as the Bible says, then we shouldn't have to walk into church and be berated for like whether it's, I don't know, the length of my skirt or
Yeah.
the way that I talk or the way that I walk or where I come from. So it's a very interesting place that we're in right now, where people are saying that, I think there's also a conversation about the distinction between being religious and being spiritual, right?
Okay.
Can I still have a relationship with God if I don't necessarily go to church, right? Can I still be spiritually in tune? As someone who grew up thinking that I had to, thinking that for me, let me just say, growing up, my relationship with God was contingent upon, it was connected to and directly correlated with me being in church on Sunday. That was the extent of it, right?
Okay.
But I will say, growing up, now my stance is that, especially having grown up away from family and like gone to several churches throughout my life, I see that God is in me, right? Church is still necessary because where 2 or 3 gather, right? That community, that's important. However, the God that's in me is bigger and is not directly correlated with where I am on Sunday morning, because God is in me every day, right? Like,
but you'll still go to church every Sunday.
Oh yeah, because it's a part of me. How do you feel?
Well, you know how I feel. I'm a church person.
Yeah.
And listen, and the thing of it is like,
even if you didn't, because your situation is interesting because you've also worked in church. Church is your job.
Yeah.
Like it's been your job your whole life, actually.
Yeah.
So, so that's a different situation, right?
No, it is. But I ask myself that a lot, and I know that I'd still be at church. I know that I'd still be like, it's still just a great place to volunteer, and glory to God, I will have an opportunity to do just that. I'll have an opportunity to do things like not take a salary after the election. You know what I mean? Like or divert that money into the child care center. Like I'll be able to do those different things and still serve in the same capacity or some type of capacity. Why? Because I really do like the church, like community, like the model, like what it can be.
For sure.
And I see more and more kind of as we grow older, it's really all about what you bring. That's what it boils down to. If you bring a good attitude to a space, then that space is a little bit lighter. You know what I mean? That's really what it's all about. Like, we all have a view, we all have an experience, we all have some trauma maybe associated with experiences. That's relationships, that's professional, that's church, that's family. Talk to me.
I agree. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I actually think that if we all had that standpoint, then we would all be a little bit better. If we didn't directly associate church with God, like sometimes we'll have bad experiences at church and say, oh, I'm just going to write off church, like I'm just going to write off God. I'm not religious. I don't believe in that. I don't want to, subscribe to that. And I think that that's where the fault is, because whenever you put your hope and your trust in man, you're always going to be disappointed, right?
Certainly.
But it's more than that. And I think that that's what kind of liberated me when I was able to see, like, no, this church is just a place that I go to on Sunday mornings. It's a part of my life. It's an integral part of my life, right? But it's not who I am, and it's not who God is, right? That's his temple. However, he lives within me, right? My body is a temple as well. So wherever, God is indwelling in me, then that's where I can have that peace too. And so I think if people realize that, then I think we will all also be able to give each other a little bit more grace and go into church saying that, like, I'm here to physically, do my part in making it the best space that it
Yeah.
can be for the glory
Yes.
of God,
Yes.
right? Not to find God or not
Yeah.
to like to be with God, because you're
Experience
gonna be
God.
because you're gonna be
I
disappointed
think
every
that's what I
time.
think people are
You're gonna
trying
be
to do.
disappointed every
And
time.
it's and that's why I enjoy what I do
Yeah.
at church, in church, because I know the difference between bringing God and just wanting to come and experience the God that's
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah.
people come
Yeah.
on Sunday and they want to experience
Yeah.
God, but
Yeah.
they don't realize, like,
Yeah. You
the
bring that.
experience, yes,
Yeah.
the experience that you have
Yeah.
is just an accumulation
And a
of the
reflection.
adoration of the
Yeah.
God that you serve.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if you come in dry, it's dry.
Exactly. Right?
It's like,
Yeah.
no, yeah. Like, we're all serving the same God, and He's done the same thing for us all.
Yeah.
Why am I singing and shouting, and
Hmm.
like, so
Yeah. It's a
I think
reflection of
that's
the
just,
energy that you
yeah.
bring.
So, and that's, again, that's why I enjoy my position, because I know I'm going to bring a cup is half full, God is good attitude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And how
Nine
did
and a
you
half times out of that,
Yeah.
yeah.
And how did you get to that point? Because I imagine, from a worship leader's perspective, from a minister's perspective, that I imagine it can feel heavy sometimes, having to be in an environment where, you're just like giving and
Yeah.
giving and trying to get people, garner excitement from other people
Yeah.
about God. How is that
I'm
for
really
you?
not doing that. That's what it is. I'm
Mm.
not trying to garner excitement from anybody.
Yeah.
I'm allowing people to see my excitement. That's
Mm.
really what I'm doing.
As an
I'm
example.
I'm, I'm allowing people to see my excitement, and, like, just more broadly, somebody got to do it.
Yeah.
Somebody got to do it. And like we were talking the other day, it's like you'll get a call from an old friend that needs something to be said, because in reality, you have the spiritual bandwidth, and you have compartmentalized and handled your own life traumas
Yeah.
with such grace and dignity in the moment, that God understands you have the bandwidth to
Yeah.
take on the trials and tribulations of your friends. And
Mm.
that's why somebody would call you, and you, in the
Mm.
midst of your own challenges that you do
Mm.
have,
Mm.
still had it within yourself to give a sincere, I'll pray for you.
Mm.
You see what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's really what it is. It's like, I've got it. I've got it in my spirit that
Mhm.
God is good. And
Mhm.
so that means, in one way or another, I'm at least qualified in order to be put in that position, because I know when challenges come, it's just a part of it.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going,
Yeah.
because God is still good. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's really what it is in my spirit. And so,
Yeah. And I've always
yeah.
admired that about you, that positive disposition, that positive outlook, no matter what. You always do have that
And it's the
sense of
moment.
optimism.
But listen, though, and it's the moment you set aside.
Mhm.
So this is the thing too. On the flip side of that, it's like, nah, I made up in my mind today at 6:30 in the morning, I'm gonna get up, put my shoes on, get on the People Mover, go to the YMCA and play basketball.
Mhm.
And if I do all of that and
Mhm.
don't play,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
I gotta come in here in church for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I have an opportunity to connect with the God that I believe, like, controls everything. Okay, so here's what we believe we need to do: come in with praise and just thanks, and just, what I'm saying, just like,
Mhm.
just gratitude, so that the spirit that exists would be drawn to that. Who
Yeah.
isn't drawn to I love you, I thank you, you're beautiful, right?
Mhm.
And then communication happens in that moment that allows you to be enlightened or educated about what you should be doing in the season that you're in, whether that's
Mhm.
be still, whether that's fight, whether that's quit or keep going.
Mhm.
That's the exchange that can happen when people that believe in God come together.
Mhm.
And so I got a role in that. I got to
Mhm.
come in with the thanksgiving, though,
Yeah.
with the praise, and with the gratitude, so fervent, so real, that it summons a spirit,
Mm.
you know. And so, and why? Because that's the time I set aside to do that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
feel
yeah.
me? It's
No,
like,
for sure.
why not do that? That's the time I set aside.
Right. Because you got me thinking, like, why else, for people who don't go in with that mindset, what is, I don't understand, what would be the purpose of going to church? Like, why?
Ritual,
Mm.
habit, and it's like you judge a tree by the fruit it bears.
Mm.
It's ritual and it's habit, and that's why you don't get into it with the people,
Mm.
because it's a ritual that's
Yeah.
almost baked into the American experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's so true.
And so you can't get
Yeah.
into the minutia of people
That's
because
so true.
it's really not. It's a thing that everybody does.
Yeah.
People just go to church, and a
Yeah.
lot more people do it on Sunday. I mean, on
Yeah.
Resurrection Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And we talked about this too, even the element of, particularly, I think this may be for the older demographic, but there was a time where people didn't have anything else. Thank you.
I don't want it to block your beautiful. Just
Oh,
look at that.
thank you.
The beauty. Oh, it's the beauty for me. Okay.
No, but there was a time where people didn't have any power or autonomy in any other elements of their life.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
that
so,
plays a part in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
and church was the place where they were able to get that. So
that's phasing out, but it's
Yeah.
probably more prevalent now because it's at the end. And so at the very end of your power, at the very end of your reign, you probably may raise the most saying, here's the thing that you're saying, and of course we've discussed it, but we'll say it like this in the open public space. Back when I was coming up, like I would remember like seeing somebody cleaning in a building. They were a janitor,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
on Sunday they were a trustee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've seen that a couple of times coming up, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's like that's an experience that exacerbates itself because of that dynamic. It's
For
like
sure.
I'm someone in this space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we know nothing against, you know, our ancestors essentially. We're not because we see it happens in different spaces, you know.
Yeah.
You know people that work in the medical field or whatever, you know, people just they are encumbered and consumed by that mission or their job. And sometimes it's the same thing, you know, if you work at a nonprofit, right? You get where I'm going. And so long story short, that's the place where they have more control, more importance. They have a title. And so how much more are they going to protect that influence that they believe that they have, even if it's a church with 50 people?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, you've been having this conversation. I've heard you. What's so beautiful I love about your platform is the intergenerational emphasis, right? You're saying like the baby boomers are getting ready to retire. We're going to have an influx of seniors who are going to be out of the workforce, and it's up to us to invest in early childhood education.
You've been listening to my message.
Oh yeah, I know the spiel. I know
Somebody
the spiel.
been listening. I know I got one vote. No, God is good.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so, but what I say in that is, have you noticed, or is this just me, that it seems like there's a disconnect between the seniors and the younger people today, right? Like we feel disconnected and have different outlooks, right? Like the seniors may feel like, oh, there's no point in, you know, sewing and teaching them. Because I just believe at one point the mentality was, as a community, we lift each other up, right? Like I have a mentor who's teaching me, who's ushering me, you know?
Yeah. You sure you want to rinse it? Yeah. Okay.
You can go rinse it out, boo. Go
rinse
rinse
it,
out.
Bubba. You got it. You can rinse it. Go rinse it.
Yeah, but have you noticed that?
I've noticed it, but that reality is, what do they say, diametrically opposed to the reality that we as people in our spirits have been built to run into chaotic situations and offer solutions. And on one end, that's a great divide, but on the other end, that's a great opportunity to bring people together and to connect the dots and articulate to both generations why the other is important and necessary in this moment, and how we can come together. And if we know what we're aiming at in the middle of a moment where people are counting on us being divided,
Yeah.
if we can come together in this moment in a united way, we can have great change.
Yeah.
And so what you need again in this moment is a leader who can articulate the importance of the intergenerational, collaboration that we've got to create here in order for the seniors to be able to live the rest of their life in peace and quiet, and for the families like ours to get started and get on the pathway to home ownership and building equity and having that pride in their community again. We can do this work, but we've got to come together.
Yeah.
And so yes, where that divide exists in such a great way, there's also an opportunity that we've been created to meet in this moment.
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful, because I feel like the biggest argument, at least that I hear from my vantage point, is young people may say, oh, they don't understand me, as to the older people. Like, they don't understand me. We live in such a different generation, such a different time. They can't possibly, understand the things that they did before don't apply to us now. And younger people may say the same thing, right? Like, they don't understand me as an older person. And so I think that's so beautiful, because it sounds to me like what you are honing in on is just the importance of like legacy and
Oh, absolutely.
community.
Yeah. No, we gotta have it now, because we got a community, like you just mimicked, a community full of old people.
Yeah.
We have got to teach our children by time they reach second grade that every person has a civic duty to learn a trade out of high school, start a family, whether you're gay or straight, because we will always have orphans, right? And you have got to vote in every election and help your elderly neighbor. That's what we've got to start teaching our children. Why? Because we're growing up in a society where we're going to have so many elderly people, right? At least for the next 20 to 30 years. Quite frankly, before all of them are gone. You know what I mean? And that's how we get through this. That's how the seniors get a chance to live their lives with peace. And that's how, and that's how it's in the middle. Hell,
Yeah.
Don't have so much of this weight to bear, because I don't think we'll be able to manage taking care of adult children and the seniors at the same time, at their most vulnerable state, because right now these children are arguably their most vulnerable, but then again, they aren't, it's because they can't leave the house without us, and so raising an adult child that can go, you know what I mean? That can go out and make decisions and drive and text, you know what I mean? And then having an elderly person at the very, very end of their life where they have nothing but their, presence of mind, and so they can't defend themselves, but they know when they're being violated. And so that plays on your conscience to do the right thing even when nobody's watching, having those two dynamics at their peak, I think that's going to be a lot for us. It's going to be a lot for us.
Yeah.
And so we've got to prepare our young children now to get ready out of high school to help out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have a family. You know what I mean? And vote. And so.
Yeah, it's a lot. And then just even thinking about how, we're experiencing this right now. Like, growing up, we had all of our family around us, at least I did, like cousins. Like, I was with my grandma until I was in school, right? That was preschool for me. That was daycare for me, was being with my grandma. And that's where I learned how to write my name and fundamentals of reading and all of that. And so now we live in such an interesting time, because I think that's becoming such a rarity today. Like, we don't have many parents that I know who have grandparents that are either physically present and in close proximity to be able to watch them, or have grandparents who are not out of the workforce who can afford to stay at home and watch them, you know?
I've been hearing this, I've been hearing that you have multiple generations of families in the city that are unhoused. I've been hearing that a lot too. So you, like the young lady, God rest her children's soul.
Yeah.
But they said her mom was in the car too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's three generations, right? And so I've been hearing that a lot, but more broadly to your point of like just the family structure, it has been broken down, and I believe that we reignite that with the arts. That's why I've got that vision for that hospital.
Mm.
I seriously, because here's the thing. You gotta, and we see it all the time. We see it all the time. How it's being, whatever it is that they want us to feel, see, and think of ourselves, it's baked into the music and the television
Mhm.
and the commercials.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
all
Media.
propaganda. It's all propaganda. And so that is why I have such an abstract idea, because I know that's a pivotal component of like, reopening the imagination of our children, is giving
Mhm.
them a better image of themselves,
Mhm.
That's so important. And
It
so,
is.
yeah, and so it's just like we got to, we've got to give our children a positive image of a family again.
Yeah.
We got to give them a positive image of young men who are business owners and
Yeah.
helpers, and you know what I'm saying, movers and
Mhm.
shakers in a good
Mhm.
way in their business,
Yeah.
in their community, I should say,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so
I totally
yeah,
agree. And I think that's super powerful too. Not only for that reason, but also just the simple fact that in a world full of so much consumerism, we also need to encourage our kids to be creators.
oh
You
yeah,
know, that's
I
the
was
only
talking
way.
about that to the group of kids the other day on that
Yeah.
podcast.
Mhm.
That we're all, because they were asking me like, what's the connection to music and politics, and how do you do them both? And I said, hey,
Mm.
Motown is a perfect example, because the
Yeah.
music that they were making was about the things that were actually going on.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is some other junk that we're on, where the music doesn't represent our experiences. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, this
Mhm.
is, they, we believe in Lauryn Hill. Like, they gave us
Yeah.
Sexy Red. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Okay.
if we
Yeah.
make our you hate
Sorry.
that
I'm
comparison. I know,
sorry.
right? No, but you get my drift. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, let's use our talents to push our people and our mission forward. Let's bring that back together. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? Like, let's have our music talk about the challenges that we have with water, right?
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
let's have our music talking about the issue of education and domestic violence and overtaxation without representation. Let's get back to it. Like, it's
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and so yeah, we have to use our art to push our people forward, for
For
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like God created us all to be
Yeah,
creators and to use that art in
for
that
sure.
way.
For sure, for sure. So what is that big piece that you're working on? That next big creation that you're working on?
I love that. Thank you for switching it up on me. Okay.
You're so funny.
Well, I told you that there's another book that I'm working on, and I think that's one thing that I'm looking forward to pushing and finishing, because this will be the first time. Um, so with other books that I've written, the first one that I used an illustrator, but I had like outsourced illustration, and for
Mhm.
this one, I'm being creative and leveraging some technology and
Yeah.
some resources that we have to do it all on my own. So I'm
God is
excited about
good.
that
What type of
undertaking.
book is this? I'm excited.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny.
No, this is a book about motherhood. It is a love letter to from a mom to her baby, and it's about the fourth trimester, which we know is like after
Oh,
we have
that's
the baby.
great. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, and it's so funny that you said it, because I'm about to start journaling again, and that's what I'm going to be writing a rep.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
I was going to call it letters from the prime. That's what I was gonna.
I
That's what I was
love
gonna.
that.
But I was also working on a book with kind of like letters
Yeah.
to our sons. With
Yeah.
that. So I
Yeah.
really want to kind of tie that in, because
Yeah.
it's like heaven forbid, and we speak against that in Jesus' name, that our children never have that experience. But I think they are lessons all one and the same. And maybe if our children hear those letters from the prime in the beginning,
Mhm.
you know, they won't have to hear the lessons on the
Definitely.
other end.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a way to connect those two, but they are also kind of standalone projects that I want to work on. And so,
I love
yeah,
that. I love
I
that.
just think that you know, it's two, it's two spectrums of the
For
same
sure.
experience.
For
You know what I
sure.
mean?
For
So,
sure. And it's important, because I don't know about for you, but I just been feeling that storytelling and creativity is so powerful, so important. You know, the last book that I wrote after we had Riel, that was a way that I healed part of me,
yeah, yeah,
through creativity, because God gave me a gift God gave me an idea, and I was able to see it to fruition and birth
Yeah.
it through creativity.
That hair is this
You
in
know
the
what?
middle of the,
Are we
or is
having
it
a?
almost time for a read? I love you. Yeah, it's
You know what?
it's just, it has body, it has life, it has movement, it has all the things that a hair is supposed. You've got good hair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You've got good hair.
Go ahead and give them
Okay,
the
I'm
context
sorry.
into that. Go ahead if you want to throw out that
Oh man. So,
insult.
oh man, he scarfed that apple.
He did. I didn't know we had apples.
All right, all right, all right. Um,
Yeah.
we were dating some years ago. You were still in Howard. That's so funny. And we were just talking. I don't know. We were talking about something, and I just told her.
Before you were educated,
Oh, well, this is my first time ever dating a Howard girl with a Howard hair, you know.
Oh my gosh.
So, but anywho, so yeah, basically, well, no, I didn't basically. I made the comment that you had good hair, and
I was immediately upset.
yeah, you let me have it
Only
in a
because the
nice, polite
implications
way.
of that.
Yes, no, you got me together. You said, well, what is good hair? And I
Yeah.
said, but I pivoted really good. I said, this is the technical answer to what good hair is. You have hair. Wait, let me finish. You have it. Don't you touch me. You have hair that does what you want it to do. That's
not what you said.
That is exactly.
That's not what you said.
That's
That's
not
not
what
what you said.
Rev, no, Rev.
Okay, wait.
All right, no way, Rev.
We
Rev.
almost done, almost
oh,
done.
Lord. Oh,
No.
oh, my gosh. He's having a hair day.
Speaking
This
of
is
hair,
real life.
my baby has good hair too.
What's good hair? Don't you say he got good hair. He's got God's hair. He's got the hair God's got for him. No, no, but to the last thing that you were saying. Oh, careful. All right, go ahead. Go back. Go
I'll
back
see you in
in
a
there.
minute. What's your
We love you. Go ahead. We love you. We'll see you later. Okay. No, I'm sorry. Okay, finish that last little.
I'm
Oh,
not
are
gonna
you done?
finish.
You done
I'm
with it?
done.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We missed them. I'm
Go
not
ahead.
trying to handle the moment. Okay. Alrighty. So we'll wrap up here, but I will ask you this last question, and then you can you don't have to take much time with it, but just do what you want with it.
You're gonna give me 30 seconds to answer.
What's the what's the revelation that you had most recently that has added the most to your happiness and your contentment just as an individual? What's that revelation that you've had in the most recent season of your life that has given you the most clarity about the season that you're in and where you're heading?
For sure. I'm gonna. It boils down to this. It was some words that I got. I actually started going to therapy, and this was a revelation that I got from my therapist as I was getting some clarity about how to set boundaries without harboring guilt about it, because that's something I've been struggling with.
Okay.
And the revelation was on the other side of no to them, whether that be a person, a job, whoever, a loved one, is a yes to you.
That's good.
So that's what I carry with me, and that has given me so much peace,
Saying
especially
yes,
this week.
you're not saying no to someone. You're saying yes to yourself.
Yeah. On the
Yeah.
other side of a no to them, you have to tell them no, but you're saying yes to you, because whenever you say yes to something, you're obviously saying no to something, that you don't realize. And when you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else, So on the other side of a no to them is a yes to you.
Last, I said this was my last question, but I guess I'm a Baptist preacher now.
Yes. Been one.
God is good. Wow. How did you feel about what you saw did you see anything about the forum, the mayoral's forum?
Oh yeah, I did see a little bit of it.
What did you think about it? I felt like it
was spicy.
Yeah, I felt like
it's getting exciting.
Yeah,
I was
feel
like
the summer
finally
started.
some excitement.
Yeah, and of course we want everybody to be dignified. We want everybody to be da-da-da. But it's
it's nice to see people who are passionate.
It's nice to see that people are passionate. 100%. I agree with you 100%. And it's also good to see Detroit be Detroit, because as much as we want to, have our leaders be able to operate in the White House. I think that the mayor needs to be able to stand next to the president. That's fine. Like, I'm okay with that, right? And the governor. But you also want to see Detroit. You want to see them be in a room of people trying to get the attention of everyone. You want to see how they go about getting everyone's attention, like
Yeah.
that chaotic experience kind of showed you who was going to step forward and who was going to step back. And so you don't want the chaos all the time, but it's very, very useful for those who are watching with a sober eye. We see who the leaders are.
Yeah.
We see who's going to step forward. We see
For sure.
who knows how to still get their point across, even against the odds, that were stacked against and the lack of professionalism that was in the room. But
Yeah.
with that being said, man, it's all a part of the game, and so that was fun. And we've been interviewing some of the mayoral candidates. We did Mr. Hashim today. I had a great time with him. I think Mr. Barlow, I think a couple of days ago, we did his interview. And so we're going to be going through some more expecting Fred and Todd pretty soon. And then we'll just continue to work on through the list. Really want to show a more human side of these candidates and make sure that they get an opportunity to speak to the issues that we know people are talking about on the streets, because up until last night, it seems as though the forums have not been delivering that. And so we want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to hear from these people that want to run the city of Detroit. So,
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
anything that you want to share with us? You guys got an event coming up. Is this a great time or a platform to share anything, or are you going to wait?
When you say you guys.
I'm talking about the Luke Clinic. I'm talking about. No, okay. No, were you? No, okay. God is good.
I mean, they're okay. It's
No.
interesting.
Well, I mean, okay, that we can have that.
There's
part
a
on
golf. There's a golf fundraiser coming up in June. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. All right. I think we're done.
You gotta give your spiel at the end.
Oh, thank you so much. See, you're my better half. I write, all of my songs about you. Okay. Thank you guys so much for supporting our campaign and sitting here and talking to us for a couple of moments. We hope that this platform allowing us, a married couple to speak from that perspective. We hope that it is something that is insightful and helpful for you all that are watching, but also, like we say before, our children that'll see this at a later point in a due time. And so that's the perspective by which and from which we do what we're doing on this particular platform or within this context. We also would ask that you would support our campaign. Again, for those of you who don't know, my name is Whitney Clark. I'm a candidate for Detroit City Council District 5. I am a write-in candidate. And so I am asking for your support on August the 5th or on your early absentee ballot. If you don't see my name, you won't see my name. If you want Detroit to win, you've got to write Whitney Clark in with an E on the end. And so please write my name in on August the 5th on your absentee ballot. And whenever you're going in to vote on August the 5th on the primary, write our name in. You can visit WhitneyClarkForDetroit.com for more information about our platform and to become a donor as well as a volunteer. Again, you guys, we thank you. We'll see you guys Monday